2 of our Resilience series, we'll be focusing on God's gift of patience in the face of adversity. This week, we hear from Prince of Peace member Gary Webb as he talks about the support he's received from God's gift of patience through times of adversity.
When I was originally asked to talk about patience and resiliency, my first thought was, what's patience and where do I get it? It's a journey and I'm not there yet. Recently, I had an unsettling experience, and that's going to be the basis of what I'm going to talk about today. I'm an early riser. I am up by 4:30 in the morning, and recently I had a string of sleepless nights. Partly emotional, partly physical, but I really couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was. But I woke one morning and I was very angry and very depressed and just really didn't know where it was all coming from. So I did what I do every morning. I made my coffee, I fed the cat, and started my morning ritual. This ritual I go downstairs on the computer, I check my mail, I make a Scrabble move, I bounce my checkbook, and I scan the news. The mail was mostly junk and spam. I was getting slaughtered on the Scrabble board. The checkbook wouldn't balance, and the news was bad, but not just bad. It seemed like every story I looked at, every headline I saw, was intended to strike a nerve somewhere inside me. We all have bad days, but this really felt different. And it wasn't until I was reading the Enquirer page and came across an obituary of someone that I knew that it dawned on me what was going on. This was about the fourth obituary I had seen for someone I knew in the past 2 weeks, and none of these were people I was particularly close to. One was a high school acquaintance, the others were former co-workers, but the common denominator was that these were all people in the age range of Jan and myself. And what dawned on me is something I've always known but never thought that much about. And that's that we are both now at the age where we have to consider that one of us may have to go on without the other. I sat at my desk that morning, nobody else up, and I just felt like the wind had been knocked out of me. And I thought to myself, is this what it comes to? I thought back to when I met Jan. I thought of all of our years together, 4 kids, grandkids, all the Christmases, birthdays, vacations, all the things we had done together. And I thought, do you wake up one morning and all of a sudden you're alone? And I thought of all the things that we do together, and would I do them by myself, or would I even do them at all anymore? And this feeling just weighed on me for several minutes, and I couldn't shake it. But part of my morning ritual is also meditation. And as I started thinking, I thought, this is not the end. This is time moving on. Be still and know that God is with you. And I know this because in 1990, I drove to my parents' house one morning to tell them that my oldest brother and their son had been killed by a drunk driver that morning. And I thought things would never work out. I thought things would never be the same. I thought I would hear my mother scream in my head for the rest of my life. But we had grace, and we had friends, and we had support, and we moved on. As we did when my mother passed away and my father passed away. And as I did when I sat by the bed of one of my children through the night, as they were hooked up to machines and monitors and tubes, and prayed to God with all my heart that they would make it through the night after overdosing. I know this all because in 1999, I lost my job of 20 years when the company I worked for was sold. I moved on. And I moved on 4 more times in the next 5 years because every time I was hired, the company would get bought, there would be financial cutbacks, and I would be out again. I looked at my 401k one day and I thought, I have 2 months until I am broke. I have no money coming in. But the phone rang the next week. I went back to work. I worked 11 years and I retired. When everything is coming down on me, When it feels like the world's falling apart, it's the time to realize that you don't have to be a rock because you are resilient. And I am sure change is coming, and change is going to be difficult, but I will never be alone.